Friends, today's movie story is going to be quite amazing. Vacation 999. In this recap, you'll see a marriage in crisis, a mysterious escort, rising temptations, emotional confusion, and a love triangle that twists in unexpected ways. Jack and Emma have been struggling to revive their intimacy and dream of having a baby. Their efforts fail again and again, leaving them frustrated and distant. Jack's brother suggests something shocking: meet an escort. Jack meets Izzy, a charming escort who offers emotional comfort instead of sex, and soon both Jack and Izzy feel an unexpected pull toward each other. But the twist begins when Emma secretly visits Izzy herself and feels the same spark. Suddenly, both husband and wife are drawn to the same woman, each hiding their growing feelings. Their jealousy, fantasies, and confusion slowly entangle them until Izzy becomes the invisible third person in their marriage. Then things escalate when they finally meet Izzy together. Emotions collide, boundaries blur, desires ignite, and their relationship transforms in surprising ways. But the deeper they go, the more dangerous the emotional triangle becomes. So friends, let's begin this thrilling story. Jack and Emma Trakarsky discuss their extended fertility pause, one that's lasted far longer than either anticipated. The toll of trying has left them drained, and they've decided to step back. During a doctor's appointment, they're caught off guard when asked about their intimate frequency. They fumble through the answer, offering excuses and explanations for their infrequent encounters. Emma admits it's less than twice weekly, while Jack estimates fewer than 6 times monthly. They search the physician's face for reassurance, but receive no verdict on whether their efforts are adequate. Later, while taking out the garbage, they run into Carmen and Dave Amari, who ask about the consultation. The couples agree they've both embellished their bedroom activities when speaking to medical professionals. Dave admits to exaggerating, prompting a knowing look from Carmen. The Amarises extend a party invitation, leaving the Trakarskys to reflect on their neighbor's seemingly carefree lifestyle. Back home, Emma discovers Jack drowsing on the sofa during a game, hand resting inside his waistband. Assuming he's pleasuring himself with sports, she calls it disgusting but doesn't let him explain. She sheds her jacket and climbs onto the furniture toward him, voice sultry with intention. She drapes herself over the cushions provocatively, and even when she tumbles off, she recovers and straddles him, still whispering provocations. He catches the scent of tobacco clinging to her and mentions it, but she's undeterred, demanding he give her a playful smack. He hesitates until she insists, and her resulting cries echo through the neighborhood. Sporting a black eye, Jack confides in his brother Sean about what Emma put him through, calling it a bedroom disaster. He admits that while their affection runs deep, the spark between them has dimmed. Sean suggests he seeks satisfaction elsewhere, revealing he's visited professionals multiple times himself. Jack is stunned and questions the logic, but Sean insists it could actually strengthen the marriage. That evening, Jack attempts to initiate intimacy, but Emma, still nursing yesterday's overindulgence, gently declines and rolls over to sleep. Meanwhile, Izzy and Nina walk to class discussing Izzy's firm approach with a recent client. When Nina jokingly calls her a hooker, Izzy corrects her sharply, explaining the distinction between escorts and sex workers. In class, a friend named Andrea admits he feels treated like the passive partner in their arrangement, but says he doesn't object. They schedule another meeting, which brings a smile to his face. At a rented flat, Jack calls Emma, who tells him she can't wait for him to return so they can reconnect physically. He texts Izzy to cancel, but she's already arrived. After some small talk, they settle in with drinks and deeper conversation. Izzy clarifies that she doesn't sleep with clients, then listens as Jack opens up about his life. Eventually, they exchange real names, a first for her. Compliments flow until Izzy suggests they kiss, but Jack's silence makes her withdraw the offer awkwardly. Still, they lean close, faces nearly touching, murmuring admiration. The kiss that follows quickly intensifies, but Jack panics and pulls away despite Izzy's willingness. She proposes they reset, but Emma's call interrupts, and he ends the encounter. At home, Jack confesses he met someone and tries to downplay it, but Emma isn't receptive. She asks if he has feelings for this woman. His silence answers for him. She presses for details, and he gives a condensed account. She demands to see the woman's profile. Izzy vents to Nina about the situation. Shortly after, she receives a booking request from someone using a different name, and it's Emma, even though Izzy doesn't realize it. The two meet and connect immediately. Emma nearly leaves early, but when Izzy playfully touches her beneath the table using her foot, Emma is entranced and stays. In the restroom, Emma drops the pretense and reveals who she really is. Both admit their attraction, and they kiss fervently before Emma abruptly pulls back and leaves. The next day, Jack meets Izzy and begins explaining how much he loves his spouse, but she cuts him off. No breakup speech necessary, just stop reaching out. He admits he genuinely cares for her, but feels trapped by the circumstances. She kisses his cheek and hurries away. Driving home, he recalls telling her he'd hired her to repair his marriage, only to develop real feelings instead. Jack arrives to find Emma looking radiant. He gazes at her with desire and affection, tells her she's stunning, moves close, and kisses her throat before sinking lower. They share an intimate evening together. Nina finds Izzy frustrated at home. She announces she's quitting. The emotional labor of the work has become too much. Afterward, the couple sits spent and breathing heavily when Emma reveals she also met and kissed Izzy. She adds that she's been with 2 women before. The couple stir awake in bed, both describing strange dreams from the night before. Jack mentions making love to her in the kitchen, while Emma says she dreamt he slept with the escort. Izzy remains dejected, but rallies herself, vowing never to work as an escort again. Jack wants to understand how Emma truly feels about her encounter with another woman, so they decide to schedule a session with their therapist. Nina returns home to find Izzy tidying up and expresses surprise, joking that her roommate only becomes domestic after romantic rejection. Izzy denies it and deflects by pointing out how Nina leaves the place in disarray. At Jack's campus office, the escort enters unexpectedly, revealing she's a student at his university. He's taken aback as she climbs onto his desk and tells him seductively that she needs counseling, which happens to be his job. Jack sits frozen until she leans in and kisses him, initiating a heated encounter. Meanwhile, Izzy appears with Emma, kissing her deeply and pleasuring her with her mouth as Emma responds with clear enjoyment. Strangely, the couple are only lost in separate fantasies, and reality snaps them back abruptly. Izzy is still brooding when Andrea calls. She collects herself and keeps the conversation light without complaint. Jack meets up with Sean and mentions how things between him and Emma have improved intimately since the escort situation began. Sean takes credit for the advice, elaborating on why such arrangements can be beneficial. Jack expresses caution, explaining he's being considered for dean of his department and can't afford any controversy. He admits he's been using the university computer to communicate with Izzy, which sets Sean off, nearly escalating to a physical confrontation. After a yoga session, Emma and Carmen get into a personal disagreement. Emma boasts she's better at attracting women and brings up her time with the escort, admitting she can't stop thinking about those brief moments. Carmen questions why she isn't interested in her, but finds the escort appealing. Emma clarifies she doesn't identify as a lesbian, it just happened organically. Carmen presses for details, and Emma describes the experience and the feelings it stirred. She worries it could threaten her marriage, but notes that paradoxically, things with Jack have never been better since meeting Izzy. Jack calls to remind her about their upcoming therapy appointment. Emma mentions the positive shift in their relationship, and when Jack asks if Carmen can overhear, Emma assures him she's out of earshot. At a bar, Andrea tells Izzy he's finished with their transactional dynamic. He wants her to pursue him properly, take him on a real date, and correct the imbalance. He wants to move forward immediately, but she suggests they meet in an hour instead. At the therapist's residence, Emma discusses her first experience with a woman, which makes Jack visibly uncomfortable. When Emma confesses she's fallen for Izzy, Jack interrupts angrily and reveals he nearly slept with her. The two dominate the session, redirecting their frustration toward the therapist as though she's to blame. Andrea arrives for their date, and after Izzy praises him for his character, he asks that they become an actual couple with all the commitment that entails. He admits he's wanted this all along, but promises to respect whatever she decides. Back home, Emma tells Jack how much she loves him, and he reciprocates sincerely. He asks her to finish the story about the woman she was with, listening intently and asking follow-up questions. When he asks how many women she's been intimate with, she reveals 3 before Izzy. Jack reacts with shock, asking why she never mentioned it. They argue about the secrets they've both kept. She asks if he's seen the escort since, and he admits he did, just to say a proper goodbye. Emma states she wants to see Izzy again, and the look she gives Jack makes her intentions clear. Their neighbor continues watching the Trekarskys from her window when her daughter walks in and catches her. Just then, a knock sounds at the door, and they both go to answer. It's Izzy, and the surprise on Jack and Emma's faces is unmistakable. The couple welcomes her in, and though things start awkwardly, Jack and Emma try to calm themselves when Izzy talks about how she ran out on a date with someone she thought was nice, then searched for their address to pay them a visit. Jack mentions they've been talking about her, and she calls it weird but sweet. She jokes about being tied up in their basement, but they take it seriously, mentioning how comfortable the basement would be. The couple are nervous about what they think is about to happen, but the escort barely pays attention to their unease. They offer her drinks, and before they can make a move, she's already taking charge. Later that night, they sit in the dark, chatting at the dining table. Emma opens up about how her marriage has changed over time. Things loosen up after Izzy pulls out a vape pen, which they all share. Emma talks about the last time they met, and how she pleasured herself at work. Jack admits he did the same. Izzy is intrigued but doubtful, saying she's not hot enough for people to do that because of her. Still, she admits she can't get them out of her head, no matter how hard she tries. Emma reminds everyone that whatever happens between them must remain strictly business. That annoys Izzy, who stands, shakes their hands firmly, and leaves in full business mode. Over drinks, the couple discuss what happened the previous night. Emma thinks they might have talked too much about business, which scared her off. Jack believes it's better that way to avoid emotional entanglement. As they argue over who should pay, Emma stretches her leg under the table, teasing him between the thighs, and he clearly enjoys it. Jack later stops by Frank's office to drop off some files. Frank talks about his upcoming retirement and mentions a drug test and a review of his search history before he can be confirmed as dean of the faculty. He hopes Jack's been careful online, using incognito mode for personal things, but Jack doesn't even know what that is, which worries Frank. Meanwhile, Emma walks with Carmen, discussing what to wear for her first official date with the escort. Carmen supports her and offers outfit ideas. Elsewhere, Nina's working out while Izzy tries on clothes for the date. When asked, Izzy says her clients have already paid for several sessions up front. Back home, Jack and Emma are both nervous about what's to come. Jack offers to meet Izzy first, but Emma refuses. They get touchy as Emma's nerves build, but she decides to leave, wanting to keep Jack waiting and curious. At the date, Emma and Izzy try to get comfortable with each other, while Jack, at a dinner party, can't focus, checking his phone constantly. Even as the party livens up, he stays restless. As the women stroll down the street, they stop at a corner where Emma pins Izzy to a wall and kisses her. Izzy smiles and suggests they go somewhere private, which Emma loves. They head to a rooftop where Izzy admits she's fantasized about being with a couple. They lock eyes, and Emma tells her how beautiful she is. They start kissing and caressing, slowly undressing until they're down to their underwear, complimenting each other's bodies as they continue making out. Emma returns home to find Jack pretending to be asleep. He wakes and kisses her, but she says she's tired, which frustrates him. His jealousy spikes when she admits she took Izzy to their special spot. Emma explains that all of this feels new and confusing. When Jack asks what she really thinks about Izzy, she hesitates. He knows he won't like her answer and turns away. But Emma decides to close the gap, and they end up making love. Later, Izzy lies in bed, unable to stop thinking about Emma. She pulls out her phone, stares at Emma's picture, and begins touching herself. Nina walks in unexpectedly, startling her. When Nina asks what she's doing, Izzy tries to hide it, but Nina picks up the phone and sees exactly what's on the screen. The couple are having a steamy session in the bathroom and then proceed to continue in the bedroom, taking different positions till they wear each other out. As they lie down, they praise themselves for finding their mojo back, and Emma wishes they had the session on record, saying they've probably just reinvented the art of lovemaking. Emma asks for permission to say something that will spoil the mood, then proceeds to say that the escort might be behind their new sexual dynamic, but Jack doesn't agree. Dave and Jack are having a chat when Dave shows he's aware of the Trekarskys' marriage dynamics. This tells Jack that Carmen was definitely hearing his conversation with Emma the other day. He knows Dave has something to say since Dave doesn't chat with him over coffee. So he presses on till he spills, asking him why he's decided to add another party to their marital life. He thinks it's bullshit and can't see the sense in it, but Jack defends the decision, even mentioning that his neighbor is probably jealous. Dave further makes jest of the situation. Jack later explains that he's actually never had intercourse with the lady yet and is still figuring out rules to guide them. He mentions there's a no penetration clause, and Dave thinks the clause is weird and there'd be no fun for him. Dave reveals that his wife has probably fallen head over heels for the escort, and this shocks Jack since this info is from Carmen. Izzy and Nina talk about the couple and what she has with them. Nina tells Izzy that she's playing a dangerous game falling for a married woman. She also thinks it will end badly for Izzy, as her position makes her more susceptible to getting hurt. Izzy doesn't want to listen to all that talk, preferring to stick with her feelings, so she walks out on her friend. Ava, the neighbor's daughter, enters Jack's office uninvited and calls him by his first name. But the man rebukes her calmly and tells her to add his prefix every time she mentions his name. She wants a favor from the assistant dean, but he's not willing to compromise on his standards and asks the girl to do what everyone else does. She asks about the lady who paid them a visit, wanting to know who she is. But the man gets jittery, drawing suspicions. He says she's his niece, but that answer doesn't suffice for the smart girl. She wonders how Jack has such an old niece, and the man says she's his much older sister's daughter, and they've just moved into town. She quizzes him further, but stops and mentions that it's her mom, Lori, who's interested in the matter, as she has something against them. She likens it to being in high school with all the intricacies that come with it. When she leaves, he steps out to phone his wife, telling her what just transpired in a worried manner, but Emma isn't very concerned. She tells him that Lori is pissed at them for not including her in certain things. He's scared that Lori being on the alumni board can hamper his chances to become dean, so Emma calms him down. Just then, Lori walks in, and Jack drops the call and hugs her, surprising her. He goes on about how he's been making plans for a soiree and wants to invite everyone in the neighborhood, including her. She wonders why the change in attitude, as she barely gets invited to such things. He says it's no big deal, and as he continues, she gets a text and starts to leave. But Jack tries to hug her, and they both find it awkward. Izzy and Nina meet up, and while Nina talks about how hot she is, with men pursuing her, Izzy's thinking of her life and how to make things right with Andy, who she thinks she really likes. She hurriedly meets up with Andy and begins telling him how much they should hang out together. She goes on rambling, but Andy isn't even giving her attention. And even when she mentions that she likes him, he isn't fazed. She wants him to give a response on the spot, but he won't make it easy for her, reminding her of what she's put him through in the past. She asks him if he thinks she's emotionally unavailable, and he doesn't say anything, just ignoring her. He further ignores her when she asks if he'll make himself available for a pizza date. Carmen is walking with Emma when she cautions her about some of her life choices. She thinks Emma is making a mistake and wasting her time with the triangle she and her husband have involved themselves in. Emma is open to listening to advice, and Carmen tells her to pick up her phone and break up with the escort, inadvertently forfeiting the fee they've paid her. As she chickens out, Carmen tries to snatch the phone and make the call herself, but Emma runs off. Izzy is home smoking when Jack knocks on the door. She yells that he has no right to drop by uninvited, but he reminds her that she did that to them days back. Jack enters and first mocks her for having her house scattered, then goes on to lay out the reason for his visit. He says he's discussed it with his wife, and they've concluded to discontinue her services, even though she gets to keep the remainder of the fee. They both know this is solely Jack's decision, so he tells her not to pick up Emma's calls or return her messages, but Izzy doesn't think it will ever work. She tells him he'll definitely come back for her, and the moment he calls it a bluff, they start kissing and begin making out. Nina enters, and they both stop. She's surprised to see that it's Jack, but when she asks if he's a client, no one answers. Nina seats them down and talks some sense into them, as if they were kids before going on to ask if the man's a client. Just then, Andrea walks in, and the exchange gets very awkward. To save face, Jack introduces himself as Izzy's uncle, but their close proximity almost gives him away. She chooses to walk Andrea to the door, promising to get back to him. He kisses her on the lips, and she returns the favor passionately before letting him go. Jack is jealous, so he takes some cash from his wallet, tells Nina he's a client, and then leaves angrily. The two friends are walking when Nina tells her that she probably kissed Andrea to make Jack jealous. Nina is sure her friend is deeply into the couple, and just then Emma, who's with Carmen urging her to act, calls. Emma says she wants to meet for something quite important, but Izzy says she can't, feigning something more pressing, and then ends the call. When Carmen asks what happened, she notices that Izzy doesn't want to do what she's been told to do, and she almost vents her frustration on someone nearby. She later confesses that she really doesn't want to end things with Izzy. The couple are chatting over drinks when Emma reveals what happened earlier when she called, further stating she really doesn't want to leave the escort. Jack says the same and tells her about his meeting with Izzy at her apartment. He gets honest and reveals that if the roommate hadn't shown up, they probably would have done something more intimate. They each feel comfortable being with Izzy, but get a bit jealous and uneasy when it's the other person doing it. They agree that the jealousy probably fuels them, and to make things cool between all parties, they decide to meet the escort and talk things out. Izzy and Andrea are having a date, eating pizza. Andrea wants to know if she really likes him, and she takes a while to reply, but he takes it the wrong way. She says she only drifted in thought, and just then, text messages that interest her begin pouring into her phone, getting her distracted. Emma's walking her dog when she meets Lori jogging, and the two get talking. Emma wants them to hang out more often, so Lori reminds her of the soiree her husband mentioned, and Emma plays along. She goes on to ask if his niece will be attending, but Emma, who calls Izzy by her real name, doesn't think so. The name Jack mentioned to Ava is different, and Emma subtly explains that the lady has two names, which is why Jack called her one thing, and she's calling her another. Lori thinks the couple get jittery easily and wonders if it's because of the alumni board review. Emma cracks a joke about Jack taking some substances, and Lori gets it and laughs. Emma is home, and scolds Jack for using a weird name to disguise Izzy. They think every move they've been making for a while might end up sabotaging their marriage. Jack gets worked up and finds it hard to breathe, and Emma understands, so she suggests they break off whatever they have with her. They're not quite sure what to do, wanting to let fate decide, but in reality, Jack wants to leave it to Izzy to decide. Izzy's cab driver likes her, and even thinks he's met her before. As she steps out and walks into the woods, he's concerned, so he steps out to ask what exactly she's doing, but Izzy is hard on him before she continues into the woods, taking another route to the Trekarskys' apartment. In the apartment, they take Izzy's failure to show up as fate's decision. They think she's made the best choice and go on to talk about their life when the escort shows up wet, and the mood shifts. Lori keeps watering the plants but spends her time staring at the Trekarskys' residence when Ava startles her. Mother and daughter agree that the couple have been acting weird for a while, and for some reason, Lori concludes that Jack's supposed niece has shown up again. The trio drink up, and when the women try to smoke, Jack stops them, reminding them they're about to make an important decision and need clear heads. Jack wants to know who Andrea is, and she confesses that she only wanted to make them jealous. She says she wants to know if the feeling she has is mutual. Emma says she's jealous when Izzy is with Andrea or her husband, and Jack says he's jealous too when the escort is with Emma or Andrea. They try to remind themselves of basic ethics but don't go further. She takes out the checkbook the couple handed over to her and shreds it to pieces. At the bar, the driver realizes where he knows Izzy from the moment he sees Andrea, so he tells him he dropped her at a weird place. Andrea is concerned, so he lays down some money to get the man to tell him the location. Back at the Trekarskys', Emma suggests a threesome, and everyone goes numb. The trio put on a hardcore adult movie to get in the mood, but they're quickly turned off by what they see. Izzy switches the site to something she thinks is more worth their time. They agree not to overthink things and just get to business. Emma tries to spur them on, but it doesn't work, and everything Jack suggests only makes things more awkward. Izzy then asks Jack to kiss her, and when he does, the tension eases. She starts dancing, telling them to stop overanalyzing and just join in. It feels like a dance class, as Izzy leads them through a few moves, and though it's awkward at first, they slowly loosen up. After sitting apart for a moment, they draw close again and lie down together. Both women begin caressing Jack, eventually taking off his pants as he smiles. At the bar, Andrea is still pleading with the driver to give him Izzy's address, but the man stalls. He tells Andrea to show he cares, instead of stalking her, to talk to her and earn her trust. Andrea insists, and under pressure, the driver finally gives in. Before long, Andrea arrives at the same place where Izzy was dropped off. At the Trekarskys' residence, the two women begin kissing while Lori keeps watch outside. On his way there, Andrea calls Nina to say he doesn't think Jack is Izzy's uncle like she claims, catching her completely off guard. As Lori sneaks up on the apartment, she runs into Ava doing the same. They talk again about the Trekarskys' odd behavior and Izzy's different names, which Lori sees as mother-daughter bonding time. Inside, things continue heating up, just as Andrea reaches the apartment. Nina keeps calling Izzy's phone with no response. Outside, the neighbor and her daughter confront Andrea, and when he tries to explain himself, Lori starts whistling, drawing everyone's attention. Jack hears the whistle and noises outside and alerts the others. Soon, more neighbors gather, forcing Andrea to explain why he's there. Carmen and Dave step in to calm things down, telling Andrea to leave and reminding everyone else to stop snooping. As Andrea turns to go, the trio appear at the window and wave. The neighbors wave back, confused, until all three stop waving at the same time and walk away. Andrea decides to stay hidden and keep watching, while Jack begins to panic and Emma tries to calm him. Dave attempts to disperse the crowd, but Lori refuses, insisting something strange is going on inside, and claiming she's protecting the school's integrity. Carmen steps in again, telling her she's taking things too far. Inside, the trio debate what story to tell, and Izzy decides to step outside first, with the couple following her. Lori explains that Andrea was snooping, which is why everyone gathered. Izzy sticks to the uncle-niece story, but Lori laughs, pointing out that Jack was shirtless. When Lori asks why Izzy sneaked through the woods to see her supposed uncle, they improvise, claiming it's a family thing since she was a kid. Lori buys it and starts saying she only came out to be a good neighbor. Emma then mentions Lisa, the president of the alumni, and claims they're close friends. For reasons only Lori knows, she immediately backs off and leaves. Back inside, Andrea catches Izzy, but she lashes out, saying he's moving too fast. Frustrated after all his effort, he storms off. Later that night, Lori lies awake beside her husband, still convinced the Trekarskys are hiding something, while Paul has no idea what to make of it. Andrea ends up talking it over with Nina at her home, while back at the apartment, Izzy, Jack, and Emma finally give in and make love for real. The couple are home and can't stop talking about the previous night, while the college student is still in bed as they prepare for work. Emma is a bit scared that this might spiral into something else, but Jack thinks it won't degenerate into something bad. As they get touchy, Jack recalls there were a lot of love declarations between them, and he wonders who said it to whom. Emma clarifies that it was Izzy who mentioned loving them. She thinks it's better she hasn't professed her love to just one of them, directing it to the trio, but Jack is worried about what happens next. He wants to know if she's now fully a part of their marriage. Nina berates herself for her action last night, calling herself a whore when Andrea enters the kitchen. They decide they can't have whatever they had the previous night and must keep it away from the other escort. Back at the Trekarskys, Izzy comes out lively and calls the couple her lovers, then kisses the man on the lips for a few seconds while Emma watches on. She goes over to the wife and kisses her, touching her chest, but even though she likes it, she tells the younger girl that she has work to get to. Izzy stops but wants them to play a game, as if not listening to what's being said, so Jack takes it up and reminds her that they have their jobs to attend to just like every adult. This irks Izzy, who thinks they've been talking behind her back, but they let her know that's not a bad thing. She's almost losing it, saying they're treating her like a hooker, when Emma reminds her that they both enjoyed the previous night. Jack just wants to leave, and when the escort asks who'll drop her off, Emma decides to help. The two walk on and can't stop having a go at each other. They stop by the road, close to the escort's house, where Nina and Andrea watch them keenly. Emma finds it hard to wrap her head around the situation, but Izzy calms her down with a hug and a kiss, while Andrea can't believe what he's just seen. Izzy's home, and Andrea, who's pissed, curses her and tells her to delete his number. Then he leaves. Inside, Nina tells her that Andrea saw the kiss, but she's more concerned about what the man was doing in their house so early in the morning. Her friend doesn't say anything tangible, leaving it to her imagination, but this vexes Izzy, who threatens to break her glass and hurt her. Nina is unfazed by these threats and promises retaliation, but Izzy begins crying, and this melts Nina, who hugs her friend and gives her a shoulder to cry on. The escort tells her friend that she had a threesome with the couple, and she really enjoyed every bit of it. She clarifies that they're not even dating, but it's still not business because she tore the check, simply because she's not a hooker. Nina says the couple has turned her into a plaything and will be using her going forward, but Izzy doesn't think that's the case. Nina jokes that the escort might end up in prison, then leaves. Jack and his brother are having lunch in the street when they talk about the situation with Izzy. Jack wants to go public with the situation, but Sean, who slaps him, tells him that it's a stupid move that will see him get ridiculed all over the country and might end up with him losing his job. Jack stands his ground and doesn't give in. Sean reminds his brother that if he comes out with his marriage dynamics, no one will want to associate with them, not even himself and his wife. He advises his brother to write her another check, making it easy to label what they have to their advantage. The two friends have been fighting since Nina hasn't shared what transpired between herself and Andrea. She finally opens up that she slept with the man and then goes on to talk about how good he is. She also says it's a mistake and promises her friend that she can still have him as he's only pissed for the moment. Izzy cries not because of Andrea, but because she can't get the couple off her head. Nina wants to know what happened after the threesome. She mentions it, and Nina puts on her cap of wisdom and then blames her friend for asking a married couple to leave their jobs and come play with her. She realizes her mistake and concurs that she probably irked them with that move. After Emma's speech to the board, where Jack watches from the door, the couple talk about Izzy, with Jack talking about them being cut off and the mistake of letting the escort shred the check. They agree that their sex lives have been better but wonder how they'll navigate their next step. They agree to make her take the money or tell her it's a breakup. Ava, who's been sneaking behind them, pops up and tells them she heard all they've said and will take every bit of information she's just heard to her mom. It's blackmail, and when Emma promises to tell her mom, the girl doesn't think it's the best move for everyone. As Jack freaks out, she tells him he can still become dean, but boldly declares that he'll have to pull his weight and make her class president for starters. Jack is having a hard time breathing, and Ava is having a swell time with the issue, even suggesting that they also make her captain of the soccer team, but Jack doesn't see that as feasible. Emma screams at the young girl, but Jack calms her down as they tell her that getting class presidency will be hard since she's not liked across school. The girl doesn't care, reminding them that the dean totally has the power to make someone president. Jack tries to drive a better bargain, while Emma just wants to hit her. Against Emma's wish, they agree to do the little girl's bidding. The couple meets Frank, and the old man is proud of Emma after her wonderful speech. They find out that the alumni board has to approve Emma too for formality, and this is a sad turn for them. They enter their car and scream out to vent. Nina comes to class late, and after a brief chat with Izzy, the escort steps out. The couple are in a bar talking about Izzy when Nina, who's meeting an older man, overhears them talking, so she walks up to the couple. Emma begins losing it and almost yelling at the girl when Jack tells her who she is. The young girl, who knows a lot, wants to know what they did to her friend that made her moody all morning. She mildly threatens them never to hurt her friend, then proceeds to ask if they intend to break up with her. The couple says there can't be a breakup because they never had an actual thing between them. They'd rather call it a thing or a business arrangement. Nina tells them they better write the check back and hand it over to her friend. The couple wants the Amaris to help them with something, but they decline at first. Carmen is the voice of reason and joins them to make a plan. They'll need to lie on behalf of the wild couple about who Izzy is, till the contract runs out and everyone goes back to their lives. Izzy shows up like she's part of the home, and the couple says they have something important to say. Izzy understands they're trying to break up with her. She understands that she probably went too fast with them and pushed too hard, but she's ready to make things right. She wants them to have time together without making love. Even when the couple tries to decline, she promises to just enjoy the evening with them, and if they decide to throw her out of their lives, then so be it. But she won't be taking any money from them either. Izzy mentions the rules of the hangout, telling them to change into something lighter, but nothing revealing. The trio play music and smoke pot. They take turns putting on a show for each other, then proceed to dance all over the house. Now high, they continue their light fun, with Izzy very active. They enter a tent, and this time they can't recall each other's activities so far. There's a knock at the door, and Emma thinks it's the police. She thinks she's conversing in a hushed tone, but the pizza delivery guy can absolutely hear all they're saying. Izzy has a big smile on her face after knowing there's more pizza to consume. Emma goes to take the delivery, but hugs the man and professes love to the guy, till her husband and the escort come out to take her in. As they lie down, Emma talks about how she's had so much fun, wishing it didn't have to get scary at some point, but Jack doesn't think it should always be scary. Just then, Izzy takes their little talk the wrong way and mentions them wanting her to move in with them. They cut in and tell her it's time to have a very important discussion. They all sit, and Jack reminds her that whatever they have can't stand the test of time, and they expect her to know better. Izzy is sad about the whole thing and wonders why they can't just have her to themselves and end up treating her like something else. The couple realizes it's a mistake starting the affair. They remind her that they have lives to live and this relationship wouldn't help them in the long run. Izzy is sad that they don't want her anymore, so she reiterates that they'll come back for her before taking her things and leaving. Her ride shows up, and before the Trekarskys run out to have another word with her, her cab zooms off. Ava shows up and tells the couple that whatever happened between them and the escort doesn't change the deal they made. Emma snaps, threatening to ruin Ava's life, gather people to torment her, and even get her on the radar of security agencies. She keeps going, and Ava stands there stunned, trembling, and close to tears as Emma looks her in the eye, making these heavy promises. The young girl is forced to answer respectfully, like a child being scolded by a parent, before the couple walks out on her. Later, the couple talks about what happened with Izzy. They're not sure if they did the right thing. Jack doesn't care what anyone thinks, but Emma still gives it some thought. Nina is back with her friend, cursing and drinking. She's emotional when Nina asks about her affair with the couple. Izzy admits it's really over this time. Her friend tries to comfort her, but Izzy says she feels humiliated. She cries, explaining how different they made her feel and how much she liked it. Nina cheers her up, sharing how she almost got married at 18 to a guy who was about to leave town. She planned to run away with him but backed out at the last minute, realizing he held all the power. Later, when she saw him again, she realized the man's feelings for her weren't deep. That's when she knew she'd always be the one giving all the love. So she walked away, drove off, and never looked back. She says she's sure he won't even remember her name now. Tearing up, she admits she's never told that story before, and they both end up laughing and talking about their past and future adventures, especially their work as escorts. That night, Ava's asleep when she dreams she's tied to her bed as thunder roars and lightning flashes. Emma storms in with a baseball bat, shouting and asking if Ava told Lori anything. Just as Emma swings, there's a knock, and Ava wakes up to find her mom standing in her room. Her mom is still suspicious about the story Jack told regarding his niece, but Ava tells her to chill and stop meddling, accusing her of just being bitter. Lori says she'll leave the Trekarskys alone, only after Ava helps her dig through Izzy's social media to get proof about their family. She hands Ava a gadget to make the job easier. At home, Jack and Emma are watching TV when Emma brings up their lack of children. Jack shrugs it off, saying they can always adopt, and Emma agrees. He reminds her that what matters most is the two of them, and they start kissing, until a knock interrupts them. It's Ava. She explains the new plan, saying it's a chance to settle everything once and for all. All she needs is a picture of the supposed uncle and niece together. Jack doesn't have one, so Ava creates a fake social media account for Izzy and generates pictures to make it look real. As Jack searches for his own photos, Emma wonders why Ava is helping them at all, but can't bring herself to stop her. She calls the girl a hothead homicidal type, but then feels bad and apologizes. Jack cuts in, wanting to keep Ava scared. When Ava starts to sense something off, he tells her Emma has been to prison before and doesn't want to go back, keeping her intimidated. The fake picture Ava made is awful, and the couple calls it out, though Ava insists it's good. Jack suggests they get a professional to fix it, and Emma reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Izzy decides to go home and leave all her troubles behind. Nina sulks, refusing to help her pack, saying it's pointless to run away. But Izzy insists it's the best thing for her. After everything with Andrea and the Trekarskys, she needs space to find herself again. Sleeping with a married couple, falling for them and taking banned substances, it's all too much. Nina asks when she'll be back, but Izzy doesn't answer at first. When she finally does, she says she won't return, that she needs to stay away from the Trekarskys for good. Lori's husband, meanwhile, questions why she's so determined to take down the Trekarskys just because she feels excluded from the neighborhood. That same night, Jack invites Dave over to help with the photo edit. After some bickering, Emma thanks Dave for helping, and Jack joins in. They make fun of Ava's earlier attempt, which upsets her. She calls them evil and says they're only in this mess because they shunned her mother. Both couples swear they love Lori, but Ava doesn't believe them. Just then, Lori texts her while Dave finishes the photo. Lori is outside her apartment, trying to call Ava, who can't pick up. Together, they come up with a plan to help Ava get home without being caught. As Nina and Izzy share their last moments together, Emma gets a text confirming that Lori has fallen for their plan. Jack heads to work, and Frank arrives with new information. Frank tells Jack that his browsing history looks bad, and begins explaining how adult content ended up there. But it turns out, Frank is only teasing him. He then tells Jack that his confirmation will happen later in the day, and mentions that Emma also has a strong chance of becoming a partner. Jack is thrilled, but Frank points out that he has been showing up to work looking a bit rough lately, which doesn't sit well with him. He also tells Jack that one line from his statement before the board will not help him in the long run. With his years of experience, Frank offers a few tips that could help him both professionally and personally. After Frank leaves, Jack walks up to him again and thanks him for opening his eyes with that short speech. He admits he has never felt true to himself and has only been doing what others expect of him, but he is done with that. When Frank asks what he plans to tell the board, Jack, still shaking with excitement, says nothing. Once Frank finally leaves, Emma calls to share that her theater project has been approved. She also mentions hearing that she will get a partner but feels indifferent about it, saying that being a partner feels like something for older people, and she does not feel old yet. She asks Jack to come over, and he rushes out to meet her. Izzy starts to have cold feet about leaving. Tears roll down her cheeks as she tells her friend how much she will miss her. She has already spoken to her mom, saying she feels heartbroken, and although her mother is excited to see her, she herself feels unsure about returning home. There is a knock at the door, and Nina admits she invited Andrea over. She says she wants to get even with Andrea for sleeping with her a few days ago. Jack meets Emma at her workplace and tells her that he rejected the position and resigned. Emma shows no emotion, but is not surprised by his decision. Jack repeats the advice Frank gave him as the main reason behind his choice. Before long, they start talking about Izzy and wonder if they should check in on her. Andrea and the women are carrying boxes when Izzy brings up Andrea and her friends' encounter. When they are alone, Izzy apologizes for what happened between them. Andrea says she does not need an apology and is not angry. She admits she only did it because she did not want to end up like her mother, who was left by a man. She says she does have feelings for the man, but he doubts they are real. Jack meets Sean, who teases him about not being able to have children. Jack, the former assistant dean, tells him he quit his job, and Sean is shocked. As the teasing continues, Jack receives a text message and excuses himself. Nina and Izzy share their final moments together when Nina reminds her that Andrea said she is actually in love with the couple. The couple later visit their therapist. When asked, they reveal that nothing has changed in their sex life. The therapist asks how often they have been intimate, and they answer cheerfully. She wants to know what made them decide to do it more often. And they tell her nothing specific inspired it. They just wanted to behave like any normal couple. Jack gets a bit awkward and mentions other things he would like to try that Emma does not allow. Later that evening, they sit at home quietly, watching TV and keeping to themselves. Nina drives Izzy to the airport. Izzy begins to cry, and when they arrive, the two friends hug tightly and both break down in tears. Back home, Nina sits with Andrea, but cannot stop thinking about Izzy. She finally decides the couple deserves to know that Izzy is leaving. While the couple debate whether to call Izzy, Nina phones them. She tells them Izzy is leaving because she fell in love with them and things did not work out. She explains that Izzy is already at the airport and about to board her flight. The couple rushes out immediately, calling and texting her, but her phone is turned off. They reach the departure terminal, and Emma tries to buy the cheapest ticket available so they can get through security. They tell the airline staff they are not trying to fly, but need to stop someone who is in distress. While Andrea and Nina take shots at home, the couple do everything they can to stop the plane, but the airport staff are not cooperative. As they struggle to decide what to do next, Izzy appears. They are overjoyed to see her and explain why they came. When Izzy asks what happens next, Emma smiles and says they should all go home.